Todd Mayo, the problem, one of many, is the boys do not have the territories to hone their craft and learn their ring psychology.
I agree.
That is true. I don't know if they know what ring psychology is, and we will have to talk about ring psychology and what it really means. Also, the booking of the psychology, because the booking has something to do with psychology as well. Because if you do something on 1, 2, and 3, and a guy chokes a guy down and beats a guy and gets disqualified, well, when you do that on week 8 with the guy that you're really wanting to draw the money with, he's choking the guy and he's choking the guy. By that time, the people should be standing, because you have built that he will choke the guy until he's down and out. He don't care if he gets disqualified or not. So you build to no disqualification match, the whole. Which we're going to have to go through a whole show of that, because I'm not for sure even the big companies that understand the psychology when it comes to building something. Now, Pat Patterson did, Terry Garvin did, those guys did, but I don't think the riders of today, I don't think they get that. Tim Truitt, when I was coming through the ranks, you didn't do what other matches did. You always did something different. That is true. You did not do the same matches, and today you do see the same matches over and over again. I remember Homer Odell had good. He was a manager back in the 70s. Did y'all see Homer Odell?
No, I never got to see
You ever see him? He had the helmet. He had used that helmet and hit people with it. Homer Odell was great. Too many of the dives out. Too many dives outside the ring. Yes, too many dives outside the ring. If I was in WWE, I'd tell them, don't do that. Don't do that unless we tell you to do that. That should only be certain people doing it, and it shouldn't be every match. I mean, because what happens if you do everything in one night? What do people look forward to? I mean, there's no reason to watch the show each week, because they're going to do the same moves in the same wrestling match each and every week. So Cheryl Weather Knox, hi, Bro West. Hi, Cheryl. How are you doing? Cheryl Weathers' father, Tommy Weathers. One of the greatest referees in professional wrestling.
Love Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy was a great guy. One of the best guys and one of the best referees in the business. Knew the business, understood the business, and understood how the business worked. Susan Renee, you have to make them believe it. Even if it's just time, the match is going on, make them believe it. Yes, I think if they would do that, I truly believe if they would make people believe it, I believe it would go from the 800,000 to the 3 or 4 million. Don't do stupid stuff, because wrestling fans are not stupid, and they're not even going to watch something free. Time is as important as money, and I don't think they're going to watch something. Give them a storyline. Give them a story. I don't even see a storyline anymore, unless it's the same one. Like we're going over real quick, but I got to ask this question: why did they do the same storyline with Edge and his wife, and the Undertaker and his wife? Can anybody answer that question for me?
I think it was easy.
I mean, why they're paying these riders, these guys, $150,000, $200,000 a year? You couldn't come up with something better than that.
You gotta remember too that the riders are not from wrestling. They're not wrestling fans. They're hired outside the business for their abilities to do scripts and stuff like that in Hollywood. You don't really. I mean, till it gets to the actual producers of the matches, those are the old school guys that understand, but they're limited. On what they can change about anything. So.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to give the wrestlers a little bit more to be able to produce their own gimmicks, their own personality, so they don't have everybody the same. I mean, every wrestler is the same, and and not everybody has to have music and fireworks, and they could pay all 3 of us good money. We could just watch their show for what they're paying for.
If they had,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, if they had controlled things as tightly in the 90s as they do now, there never would have been a Stone Cold Steve Austin, because Stone Cold Steve Austin was basically Steve Austin amped up on steroids. And I don't mean physical. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He was himself, and he was taking it to the nth degree. And I've heard dozens and dozens and dozens of people in this business say that if you meet Nature Boy Ric Flair, you've met Ric Flair. He's living that. Today it's too confined, too overscripted, And that's how you end up getting duplicate storylines like AJ Styles calling The Undertaker Mark Calloway and referring to Michelle McCool, and then bringing Beth Phoenix on and duplicating similar things with Edge.
Now, what was you going to say, Jack?
Oh, I was just going to, when you were making the remark about us watching the shows and critiquing them, Dusty told me that at one time they hired him to do that, to sit at home and watch the show and make notes and send those in. And he said, I did that for a long time. And he said, I got good checks. And he said, I don't think anybody ever read my notes.
They probably didn't. They didn't really want to hear. Jim Barnett was hired for years to do it. And Jim used to tell Dad, he says, they've just paid me for years. And I don't think they've done anything I told them. And without Jim Barnett, WWF would have never gotten to the place they were at. Jim Barnett's the one that helped them get to there because he knew all the territories, how they worked, the way they worked, and he knew the players and who the players was and how to work them against each other. Jim Barnett, no matter what, he doesn't get any credit for that because Vince is going to take it all. But Jim Barnett is the one that knew all the wrestling promoters, and he knew how to put them down. That's just, he knew how to do it. Terry said, I'm sorry, but when I was coming up, I was told it's not about you and me. It's about those people that I think he's been paid to see us, and I still preach it. Yes, it is about the wrestling fan. And if something's not getting over, change it. Don't keep on doing it. Don't beat a dead horse. Just get rid of it. To take the guy from the third match, put him in the main event, especially if the guy in the main event's not drawing you any money. I don't care if he's your best friend or he's your brother-in-law or he's your brother. Get rid of him, put him in the first match, let him sell popcorn, but just don't leave him on the main event. Cheryl Weathers Knox, do you remember when we had a wrestling ring in the backyard? Yes, I do remember the wrestling ring in the backyard. We used to have some great matches, and Cheryl would always beat us. We never won a match. We always did the job for Cheryl. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, we used to have a wrestling ring in the back of their house, so we used to go down there and wrestle all the time. We used to have backyard wrestling matches. I mean, so many backyard wrestling matches. And me and my brother would always, the Andersons was our big deal. And once we got your arm, you were done. You were not going to win. Let me get through these real fast. Do you think masked wrestlers will make a comeback?
They could.
Yeah.
They could.
I think they're,
one of the most popular masked wrestlers out there. I think if they're marketed right, and I think there's a lot of mismarketing opportunities by not having.
James Meek says they're running out of ideals. Do you think that's it? Do you think they're running out of ideals?
Well, here's the thing, and it's wrestling has always been recycled ideas. It's just tweaking them, changing them a little bit. There's still plenty of original ideas. I think they're just getting lazy, and that when they recycle now, they're not tweaking. They're just flat. I'm waiting for them to redo the Randy Savage Elizabeth marriage deal again at some point. And not just and do that digitally, insert different people's faces on the tape to make it easier.
It's funny because really, when you think about that, there's so much stuff that happened in the wrestling business, great angles, great programs from the 60s and 70s that they're missing out on that could be redone, that could draw them a ton of money. But there's nobody there.
Because I'm still doing them, so y'all.
Yeah, okay, well, all right. Mitch, the proposal we sent out to Vince, we're just going to have to take that back down.
All right, we'll just go back to the drawing board.
We'll go back to the drawing board. We'll just try to do us a television program on Netflix. Just like Hollywood today, remake. They need writers who know wrestling. I agree. Stuart Bailey, a lot of wrestlers now are interchangeable. Same look, same style, same type of music. Yes, they all wrestle alike. The duck and clothesline, that's what I see. It's all a bunch of it's almost like watching a video game. I think it's video game wrestling. I really miss the territories, and I think we'll end it right there with that.